you will never make it. You'll be too poor to even go back to your home country. It looks so bad. Like, I cannot do that every day. For context, my name is Evie. I've been living in Japan for almost 4 years, but this is my second year working in this company. This is my first full-time corporate job. So even though I'm Australian, I've never had full-time working experience in Australia. This is my first job ever. Also, I work for a foreign company and my role is a corporate content creator. So we have Japanese clients and we make social media posts for them, videography, photography, all that jazz. They do other media stuff, but I only do social media. So it's my lunch break right now. I live and work in Japan, Tokyo, and this is my office job. I wanted to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of living and working in Japan as a salaryman. What is the definition of a salaryman? Basically, you earn a salary and you're a man. Well, I'm not a man, but I'm a salary woman slash office lady slash basically I have a corporate job. And I have been online seeing the things about the grifting of salaryman YouTubers. I saw this video by Partis where he basically exposed a bunch of influencers asking for donations because they have such a horrible life working in Japan and the salary is just not enough. And so I wanted to come on here and share a little bit of my experience. I will say I don't have like the most corporate job. I don't work for a black company, but we'll get into these things. So yeah, I have written down some notes. As I said, this is my lunch break. I am at work right now, but I don't think anyone will come in here. So yeah, I am a little bit nervous because my company, like my colleagues and my boss do know my page. They know I'm a content creator. For context, I am a corporate content creator and this is the studio. I guess I'll show you as much as I can. I don't have the cleanest office at the moment, but that's proof of life. You know, if it's too clean, that means nobody's working here. But got my own laptop. Recently, we got these really nice monitors and I'm super happy. Yeah, that's all I'm willing to show, but also got really nice chairs. I feel like there's a lot of things people say online, but they can't really back it up by saying that they actually work here, yada, yada, yada. So let's start off with the 3 pros, okay? Because working in Japan doesn't have to suck. It's crazy how people want to talk about Japan. They like either love it so much that they're like, I was here for 2 weeks, should I move here? Or then they like extremely hate it. Like, oh my gosh, traveling here is not the same as living here. You will never make it. Like you'll be too poor to even go back to your home country. It doesn't have to be so extreme. You know, you can have a good life, a good time, working and living in Japan like me. Let's go. Okay, for my pros. So the first pro is I think it is a misconception that living in Japan cannot be like a holiday. Because like on my weekends or on my time off, it does feel like I'm on a trip here. For example, it is my lunch break and after this, I'll probably just go out to a chain restaurant and spend like 1,000 yen on lunch, which other people have to fly here and do on a holiday. Whereas for me, that's like my daily life. I think I don't take that for granted. I'm so lucky that I don't have to cook every day. And yes, I know not everyone can say that, but you have to see things the way I do it. So number 2, the second pro is that living costs are still relatively cheap. I know we are in a living cost crisis. The economy is down for everyone around the world, especially in Japan. Prices are raising, but I'm comparing things from Australia because I am Australian. I have never had a job in Australia, but if I did, let's say I made the average income in Australia and I wanted to get a nice takeout. Okay, not even a nice takeout, but like for lunch, you want to get a takeout, you're probably spending like 15 AUD to 20 AUD. It is a bigger portion, but what I used to do when I was living in Sydney was for lunch, I would get a takeaway and then I would save half of it to eat it for dinner. Like I've never had to do that in Japan because you just get more bang for your buck in Japanese yen. So yes, you earn way less Japanese yen. Your average salary in Japan would be way less than in Australia, but your money has more power here. And yes, Japanese people are always going to say that it's getting expensive and it's also getting expensive everywhere in the world. So I would like to say that it is a pro and a privilege that I can go out and have a proper meal for 1,000 yen, which is less than 10 Australian dollars. My third pro would be that there's a lot of public holidays. So right now I'm filming this on May 7th, which is the day after Golden Week. Well, some people are still on holiday and extending their Golden Week. For example, the way I describe Golden Week is like for Westerners, you have the Christmas holidays, right? And then Christmas holidays extend to New Year's, and then you take a few days off in between to extend it into a long thing. So Golden Week is when there's a bunch of public holidays and it kind of extends into 1 to 2 weeks off, which is super amazing. And even throughout the year, pretty much every month has 1 or 2 public holidays. And I know that other countries don't do that. In Australia, it's pretty much the standard ones like Christmas, Easter. So yeah, we don't get Christmas or Easter here, but the public holidays are, let me just look it up. Okay, so I just looked it up. Apparently, Japan has 16 public holidays each year. And I think that's a lot. compared to other countries. The reason they did this is because a lot of people were not taking holidays, and so they kind of made it not even mandatory but recommended for companies to let everyone take days off, and so that they don't feel guilty about taking days off. That is a con, I would like to say, but I think that's pretty nice. Also my next random pro is that at my company personally we get like unlimited drinks. This is my drink of choice for most days. It's like a vitamin C, has collagen in it. I try to drink this every day so I don't get sick, and then water because I need to live, right? I think that's so nice. Like, of course not every company has unlimited drinks, but it is possible, okay? I just want to be here to show you that anything is possible, even in Japan. So into the cons. Number one, dude, remote work is like so not a thing. My job could be half remote, right? Because I make videos. Of course, I have to be in person to shoot them, but editing them, dude, I can do that at home. I even have a freaking laptop. No, the server is at the office or at the studio or wherever, but yeah. It's so annoying because sometimes I'm like a little bit sick. I don't want to go in person, and I'm not sick enough that I can't edit in bed, but we don't have remote work, which is like so bad. Like half of these jobs in Tokyo right now could be remote, but they're so anti-remote. It's crazy. Okay, I didn't even write that one down, but the next con, it says, even working in a foreign company, you cannot avoid Japanese customs. Oh my God. There are just so many Japanese customs that I'm even still discovering now because I don't have a client-facing role. I don't have to talk in Japanese much at all. I don't have to follow with these customs and everything. But for example, I think in Europe, if you ask for a day off, it's kind of your legal right to be like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna take this day off. Could you please approve it? As long as you ask 2 weeks in advance. But for me, I had to fight for my life to get this one day off. Oh my goodness. Like I basically had to ask 3 times, and in the end, I had to prove that my work was scheduled 2 weeks in advance. I had to have 2 weeks of my social media calendar planned before I could go, which is really long. We usually are 1 week in advance, but having 2 weeks in advance is pretty crazy, especially right now. It's the holidays. But I worked my butt off, and so I got my holiday in the end. But basically, I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't happen in Europe or America or Australia. And sorry if that is normal, but that's just like the first example that I could think of. Another example I'd like to say is here the client is king. So if the client wants to do A, but A doesn't work well in social media, but your job is social media, you still have to make A because that's what the client wants. Yeah, my job is to like please the client, even though I do social media. Does that make sense? Even if I know it's not going to perform well, I have to do what the client says. And that, I'm sure that's jobs all over the world, but it's kind of rough when this is like your first job and you want to put things in your portfolio, and I don't really have much to show. Well, not that I'm even allowed to, but it would be nice, put on my LinkedIn so that I have security for my next job if I want to apply to another job. If my boss sees this, I have zero plans of applying to new jobs, but keep your options open. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. The second con I put is being forced to drink/eat with colleagues outside of work time and you have to pay for it. Okay, this con is not mine. Thank God. I've never had to do that. The one time we all hung out together, we had dinner together. It was all by choice. We all organized it ourselves, just like a couple of us colleagues, and I think that's super fun. So this is kind of a pro. I'm saying that yes, this happens in Japanese culture, but not every company has to do this. And you can make friends with your colleagues. I am friends with my colleagues. So if someone does walk in right now, I'll just be like, oh, and it'll be awkward, but it's fine. We're friends. And they know I do content. Everyone knows, which is kind of awkward, but okay. The third con is probably the worst one. It says, the commute makes me want to KMS, which is so true. Like, this is the main criteria I needed to fulfill to know that I could survive in Japan. So a long time ago, I studied abroad here and I lived in like the cheapest dorm for my university because obviously it broke student life. And the one thing I learned was that I cannot commute an hour a day to somewhere. And that was school where you don't have to go every day, but work, you have to go 5 days a week. So with that in mind, I chose to live in a place that is very convenient to get to all my work locations. So that's why when people ask like, why do you live in central Tokyo? It's so expensive. It's not worth it. You can live in No, girl, I would rather pay for my sanity. So yes, while I have to commute every day, it's not as bad as sometimes people show. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, sometimes my videos, when I have to work overtime or I have to go home at a specific time from a specific station, like Shinjuku station, so crazy that even me looking back on the footage, I'm like, dude, because in real life, I can't see as much as my camera sees because I put my camera on 0.5. It looks so bad. Like, I cannot do that every day. And yes, I'm sure there are some people out there that have to do that every day. Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes I've stayed back until like 9 p.m. by choice because I did not have the mental capacity to go through the commute. Yeah, that is definitely my biggest con of living in Japan. If you want to work here, you better live somewhere that has a good commute. And then the last one I put is the amount of time you have to waste on formalities and bureaucracy. Oh my god, that I feel like if Japanese people watched my video, they would be like, go back to your own country. It's not a waste of time. Like, I understand it's another culture and I respect it. That's of course, I respect it. That's why I will go along with it. But there will never be a day where I'm like so happy to go along with it and not think that it's a waste of time. Okay, for example, it's like in English when you write an email and you have to say, hope you've been well. Like, that's very short, hope you've been well. But in Japan, you have to be like, okay, I use AI a lot when I write my emails. I can't say it off the top of my head, but you have to say something like, thank you so much for replying and continuing this conversation in Japanese. If you made a mistake, you really have to apologize for like multiple times, like "Moshiwake gozaimasen desu." Okay, my Japanese is not good enough to say it. There's a lot of back and forth that needs to go on behind the scenes. Luckily, I do not have a client-facing role, so I don't have to do this too much, but it is crazy. I feel really bad for all the people, all of the managers and all the communicators that have to apologize on behalf of people like me who make small mistakes, and like a small mistake can become a big thing and you just basically have to apologize all the time, and that can't be good for your mental health if you're always apologizing for other people's mistakes, and the mistakes are so small as well. Like, someone misplaced something and it's like a day late. By the way, my job is marketing, okay? No lives are at stake. Okay, this is kind of becoming like an unstructured rant, but that was the last of my list. And then the very end, it says, not really included in pro or con, but I would like to say the salary doesn't have to suck you dry. Yes, of course I'm very lucky. I don't have a salary that sucks me dry, but also I don't have any kids or dependents, so my entire salary goes to me, luckily, so I can pay my rent and everything without stressing too much. Yeah, you don't have to accept the bare minimum, because also that's coming from me, someone who was job hunting for what, like 4 years of my life. When I graduated from university, I could not find a job for so long. So TLDR summary is, I am extremely grateful for my job and living in Japan and being able to create my life here as an adult, because I've never been able to do that in my home country, in any other country. This can either be motivational to let you know that yes, you can have a nice life in Japan. You don't have to hate your life like all those other people online that are showing how bad it is and how it's so expensive. Like, yeah, it is expensive, but so is the rest of the world. Can I just say that my amount of rent, I know other people are paying that in a week. Like, what I pay in a month, other people are paying in a week. And it would be impossible to live alone in Australia with my rent. Like, not my rent, but like my role. In Australia, you'd have to have a roommate. In America and Europe, you would have to have a roommate. But I get to live alone, and I don't live in just a little box anymore. So all things are possible. If there's a will, there's a way. Let me know if you have any questions about living or working in Japan. Yes, that is almost half of my lunch break, so I'm gonna run out and eat something now. And I'm amazed that I got this video done without anyone interrupting me, and I don't have to be embarrassed, and my coworkers will never know about this. I hope I can post more about working in Japan, or but yes, let me know. I gotta go back to work after this. Poo.